theyeshiva.net.
Daf Hey Omud Aleph, the last line, all the way on the bottom, Amar Rava. I do want to bid farewell to Rabbi Pinchas Krieger, who's relocating tonight to Eretz Yisrael, for Shatova Matzlachas. He's been a pillar of our shiurim in our community for a few years, and he's moving to the Holy Land tonight, to Shatova Matzlachas. He's still going to be a daily participant in our shiur. 1:45 p.m. Yeah. So, Rabbi, he will see us, we won't see him. And it should all be with a lot of hatzlacha. We're going to miss you. Okay. So we are the last line. Daf Hey Amud Aleph Amar Rava. So after, I hope everybody got yesterday's shiur. If not, you could review it online on the yeshiva.net. After we summed up all of the various possible sources to teach us that chametz becomes forbidden Erev Pesach Mishay Shoyus Elamayla after 6 hours, and Tashbisu refers to Chatzos. Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu means when? By Chatzos. And we had the explanation of Abaye, and the explanation of Reb Shmuel, the explanation of Reb Nachman, the explanation of Rava, the explanation of Rabbi Shmuel, the explanation of Reb Akiva, and the explanation of Rabbi Yosi. Rava now makes a comment analyzing what Rabbi Akiva said. What did Rabbi Akiva say in the Brisa? He said that the way we learn that Tashbisu is Erev Pesach is because it says Ach b'yom harishon Tashbisu somer b'teich. On the other hand, it also says, Rabbi Akiva said, that Kol Malacha lo yasa v'hem. On the first day of Pesach, you're not allowed to do malacha. The only type of malacha you're allowed to do is oichel nefesh. Malacha, labors that are going to help you prepare the food that you want to eat. B'meila, since it says Tashbisu, and you're not allowed to do malacha. And havara, kindling a flame, is an av malacha that is forbidden on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. So therefore, the Torah can't be referring to the first day of Yom Tov because you can't kindle a fire on the first day of Pesach when the Torah says in Parshas, you're not allowed to do any malacha on that day. So Rabbi Akiva says, from here we must deduce that Ach b'yom harishon doesn't mean the first day of Yom Tov, it means Erev Pesach when you're allowed to kindle a flame because it's not Yom Tov, it's a day before Yom Tov. Amar Rava, so Rava said, Shema mina mid Rabbi Akiva tlas, the top of Hey Amud Beis. From Rabbi Akiva's statement, you could learn out 3 things. You could learn out 3 things in the shit of Rabbi Akiva. Number 1, Shema mina, you could learn from this that ein bir chametz ela sreifa. The Rabbi Akiva is of the opinion that the way of doing bir chametz, the way of destroying chametz, is through kindling a fire and burning it. And this is a novelty, because as we're going to learn later in Masechta Pesachim, Daf Chaf Aleph in the Mishnah, there's a machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. Rabbi Yehuda holds ein bir chametz ela sreifa. The way of destroying chametz is through a fire. Chachamim say there's no need to make a fire. Mefarer v'zoyer l'ruach ematuliyah. You could take a piece of bread, crumble it, throw it into the air, and let the crumbs fall wherever they fall, let the chips fall wherever they fall. Or you crumble it, and you throw it into the sea. What's the machlokes? We'll see later what the svaras machlokes is. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, you need a much more serious form of destruction. You have to burn the chametz. According to the Chachamim, you're not actually destroying the chametz. You're just putting it into what you're crumbling it. You're destroying it in the sense that it's not usable anymore. What are you going to do with a crumb of chametz on a sidewalk? What are you going to do with it? You're going to go make a meal? You're going to go sell it? You're going to go feed it to your animals? What are you going to do with a crumb of chametz in the sea, in the ocean? What are you going to do? It's still chametz, it's still bread, but it's not usable anymore. It's not functional. It's close to valueless. Is it still bread? It's still bread. It's a tiny crumb of bread, but it's still bread. It's not like when you burn it, where it's transformed into a new entity. What do we see from Rabbi Akiva? We see Rabbi Akiva holds the same view like Rabbi Yehuda, that bir chametz is sreif. What's the proof? So let's see Rashi. Shma mina. Mid Eloi Nafkale. The Hayoim Rishon Erev Yom Tefu. Elo Mishum da Asur Lahaver B'Yom Tef. Since Rabbi Akiva does not deduce the truth that Yom Rishon means Erev Yom Tov only from one source. What's the source? Because you're now allowed to kindle a fire on Yom Tov. Shema Mina. So from here you could deduce that Tzvira Leika Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Akiva holds like Rabbi Yehuda da Amar Lekaman Repera Kol Shah, who says later in the second parak of Pesachim Kol Shah Dav Chaf Aleph and Dav Chaf Zayin, Ein Bir Chametz Al Sreifa V'Yalif Lamin Noiser. Rabbi Yehuda is going to deduce this from the halacha of Noiser. When you have a carbon, a sacrifice in the Beis Hamikdash that was left over, and you didn't eat it in the prescribed time, the mitzvah is to burn it, and he's going to compare chametz to noiser, as we will see. Obviously, Rabbi Akiva holds the same. Why? The hashbasase b'chol davar svirelei. Because if Rabbi Akiva holds that beer chametz could be done through other methods, you don't need to kindle a flame and put it into fire. You can destroy it any method. In other words, I don't care if you crumble it. Then look maybe Yom Tov. Then you could say, Ach b'yom harishon means on Yom Tov, v'yivarenu b'davar acher, and don't kindle a fire. Destroy it through another method. For example, yachalenu leklavim, give it to dogs to eat, or yashlichenu leyam, or throw it into the yam. Do those types of things that would not be on amalacha on Yom Tov, and then tashbisu could work. But the fact that Rabbi Akiva says there's no way you can do it on Yom Tov means that he holds that bir chametz is Sreifa, and kindling a fire on Yom Tov is forbidden. Hence Rabbi Akiva conclude that Tashbisu happens by Yom Harishon, which is Erev Yom Tov and not Yom Tov. That's the first thing we learn from Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi says, the first thing we learn from Rabbi Akiva is Ein Bir Chametz Al Sreif. Ushma Mina, number 2. We also learn from him something else. Havara Lechalek Yotzas. 3 words. Literally translated, the kindling of a fire went out in order to make a division. Havara, the issur of kindling yotzas, went out lechalek, in order to be mechalek, in order to split, in order to divide. What does this mean? For this, I'm going to ask you to open your siddur, open any siddur, and we'll learn something that we say every day. Many of us have been saying this for 4 decades. 5 decades, some even more. But very often we don't know what it means. And hopefully throughout the shiurim we'll be able to see all the 13. Right before you start Shacharis, right, the last thing we say before Hoidu, or whatever the Nusach is, if you start with Baruch Shama, Mizmer Shechanukas, or Hoidu, is Rabbi Yishmael Oimer, right? If you have these... the art scroll Svard, it's page 24. Rabbi Yishmael says that there's 13 midos, 13 formulas, 13 methods through which we expound Torah. Where does this come from? As it says on the top, Rabbi Yishmael is the Sifra Psicha. One of the most important Medrashim is called Torah's Kohanim. It's a commentary of Chazal on Sefer Vayikra. It's also known as Sifra, and the opening of the Sifra, Teres Kohanim, is with this Braisa of Rabbi Yishmael. There's 13 methods to which you expound Torah. What does this mean? When Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Jewish people the Torah, as explained in previous shiurim, the text is very cryptic and very concise. How are they going to unravel the text and figure out the full meaning of it? First of all, to understand what it means. Second of all, to apply it to situations that are not discussed in Chumash, etc. So he gave them Shloish Esrei Midas, which means various methods through which you interpret Torah. The first is called Kal V'Chomer, Gzeira Shava, but now we're going to focus on one of them, and that is number Ches. What's number Ches? Kol Davar Shahaya B'Chlal V'Yatza Min HaKlal L'Lamed Lo L'Lamed Al Atzma Yatza. What does this mean? You said it this morning. Anybody remembers what it means? Let's translate. Anything that was in a klal, in a collective, it left the klal to teach. Don't think it came to teach for itself. It came to teach also for the whole klal which it left. What is he referring to? What's this ches, okay? Now let's see Yud Aleph, okay? Kol davar shaya b'chlal, v'yotza lidon b'davar hachadash, iyata yachel lachzir echlali, ashechzirenu hakasav l'chlali b'ferish. Anything that was in the klal, and it went out, not l'lamed, it went out to get a new din, then you can't bring it back to the klal until the Torah brings it back to the klal. These are very important principles that served as the foundation for how the Chazal looked at the text of Torah. Okay, let's see in our case what we're talking about. It says Havara lechalik yotzos. That's what Rava deduces from Rabbi Akiva. Havara went out lechalik. What is he referring to? Okay, so I'm going to ask you: do we still have Chumashim? Take a look at the Chumash. Open up Parshas Yisro. I'll tell you which page in one moment. Parshas Yisro. Aseres Adibris, it would be page 211 in the Blue Chumash. Yeah? The Ten Commandments. Shmois, Perek Chaf, Pasuk, Ches, Tes, and Yud. Zachir Yom HaShabbos L'Katsha, Sheish Yom Tavad Vasisa Kol Malachtecha, Yom HaShvi Shabbos L'Shem Alekecha, Loi Sasa Chol Malacha. Don't do any malacha on Shabbos. What is included in these words, Loi Sasa Chol Malacha? The Torah doesn't say clearly. What does it mean, don't do any malacha on Shabbos? Am I allowed to schlep a couch from upstairs to downstairs, back and forth 20 times? That seems like a lot of work. Is that prohibited on Shabbos? Am I allowed to schlep a table from one room to another room? Am I allowed to schlep chairs? That would seem like a heavy burden. Is that included in malacha, or is malacha something else? Torah doesn't specify. The Chazal, through Torah Shabbal Peh, through their methodology, discovered that Loisasachal malacha means there are 39 types of labors that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. Loisasachal malacha. The Torah never specifies them anywhere in the whole Chumash. Does it say that you're not allowed to write on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to erase on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to sew on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to build on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to demolish on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to winnow on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to thresh on Shabbos, or you're not allowed to grind kernels on Shabbos? Doesn't say anywhere in the Torah. It's all part of Leisasal Chol Malacha. But suddenly, a few pages later, in the beginning of Parshas Vayechi, which is on page 268, Moshe gathers all of the Jewish people together, and he tells them, Sheishis Yamim Te'asam Malacha B'yem HaShvi Lechem Kodesh Shabbos Shabbos Hashem Kol Oiseh B'Malacha Yumas. 6 days work should be done. On the 7th day is a day of holiness and rest. And suddenly, Pasuk Gimel, Lo Sevaru Eish B'chol Mashvesechem B'Yom HaShabbos. Don't kindle a fire in all of the places where you live on the day of Shabbos. Really? If you're already giving me a specific malacha, why don't you go through all 39 malachas? It would sound like one of the two. Either the only thing that's forbidden on Shabbos is don't light a fire on Shabbos. Everything else is fine. But you just told me a moment ago, 6 days you should do malacha, and on the 7th day you're not allowed to do any malacha. That was superfluous. If the only thing you're not allowed to do is kindling a fire, just say you're not allowed to kindle a fire on Shabbos. Obviously, there's something called malacha that goes beyond kindling a fire on Shabbos. Like we know there are 39 types of malacha. Mavir, kindling a fire, is one of them. It's one of them, just like extinguishing is one of them, just like sewing is one of them. Just like carrying is one of them, just like cooking or baking is one of them, right? Or planting or sowing. Or planting or plowing are one of them. But the Torah specifies Leisavaru Eish B'chol Mashvesechem. Why? This is the principle that we have now in Rabbi Yishmael. Kol davar shahaya b'chlal. Anything that was in the klal. What's an example? Kindling a fire was in the klal of not doing malacha. But yatzim in that klal. It was taken out from the klal. It became an individualized malacha. Loy lelamed al atzma yatsa. El lelamed al klal kula yatsa. It's not only to teach you something about himself, to teach you something about the klal. What would it teach you about the klal? What I teach you about the klal is something fundamental. Since the Torah says don't do a malacha on Shabbos, that's one prohibition, not to do a malacha. Let's say it's one Saturday, Shabbos morning, and I forget it's Shabbos. I thought it's Sunday for whatever reason. I come down to the kitchen, and I start doing a bunch of malachas. I put up the hot water, then I bake something, then I cook something. Then I put on the light, and then I type something, and then I write something, and then I erase something, then I tear something, and then I sew something, and then I go to the store and I carry something, right? And then I water my plants. A bunch of stuff. And then my wife comes into the kitchen and starts screaming, Chaim Yankel, it's a Shabbos. It's the time of the Beis HaMikdash. And I discovered I did 25 malachas out of the 39 malachas of Shabbos by mistake, b'shoigig. I forgot it was Shabbos. How many carbon chatoses do I have to bring? How many chatoyas do I have to bring? The Torah says, you're not allowed to do malacha, lo yisasach al malacha. When you transgress such a type of prohibition, you have to bring a chatas. But all the malachas are included in one lav, lo yisasach al malacha. So you would say you have to bring one carbon chatas. This is the chiddush of lo yisavaru esh. By the Torah taking out lo yisavaru esh from the rest of the malachas and identifying it as a separate entity, it teaches you, just like if you kindle a fire, you would have to bring your own carbon chatas just for this, because it's an independent malacha, self-contained. So l'lamed ala klal kula yotza, it teaches us for the whole klal that on every single malacha you have to bring a carbon chata. So if I do 39 of them by mistake, I have to bring 39 carbonos chatas. That's pshat havara lechalek yotzas. Havara went out. It left the klal of loisazach hamalacha lechalek in order to divide. In order to create a division between the malachas, treat each malacha independent. Don't group them all together and say it's one prohibition. Just like if somebody eats chaylev and somebody eats dam, if somebody eats the fat of an animal that you're not allowed to eat, and somebody eats blood, by mistake, they have to bring a carbon chatas, not one but two, because it's two separate isurim. So the same is true when somebody does two malachas on Shabbos, they have to bring two karbonas. That's what Havara teaches you. There's another way of learning this, and this is going to be, that's why it's a chiddush of Rabbi Akiva. Let's see Rashi. Take a look at Rashi. Shma mina, mi dikamar shoav malacha. What did Rabbi Akiva say? Havara is an av malacha, right? That's why you can't do it on Yom Tov. So what do we see? Svira leike Reb Nosson. He holds like Reb Nosson, the Amar Havara lechalik yotzasa. Havara left the klal in order to create division. The Tanya, we learned to Beis Masechus Shabbos. Havara. This is another opinion. Havara lelav yotzas. Havara was specified. It went out of the klal to teach me that it's a lav. It was included in the prohibition not to do malacha. The Torah took it out of the klal and made a special lav. Don't kindle a fire. To teach you this is opinion number one. The reason the Torah says is actually to teach me that kindling a fire doesn't go into the rest of the malachas. For the rest of the malachas, there's a death penalty. For if you kindle a fire, there's only a lav. Lav means it's only a prohibition. Somebody brings a carbon chatas, they do it b'shoigig, somebody gets malchus, even if they do it willingly with witnesses and warning and everything, there's never a death penalty. It says, kala oisa by malacha you must. That's if you do the regular malacha and the other type of malacha. Havara went out to teach you that it's only a lav. It's not an isur misa. It's only a negative prohibition with a penalty of lashes in the worst situation if you were warned and there's witnesses and so forth, which usually was very hard to get. Either lashes or death penalty was almost impossible to get. But the point is, in principle, it's only something that subjects you to lashes because it's a lav. That's why the Torah specified Havara. Reb Nosson omer lechalik yotzas. No, that's not the reason it left. Shaloi Taima don't say. If somebody does 4 or 5 malachas by mistake on Shabbos inadvertently, you only chayav one carbon. Because there's only one lav that specifies and encompasses all the malachas. The chat kares and one penalty of kares if it's willing. Even if you do it willingly without witnesses, so you would think there's one kares and one lav. So if you do many, there's only one obligation of chatas and one obligation of kares. That's the reason that the Torah specifies loisavaru independently to compare all of them to her. Just like she is one of the avos malachas, and yet you're obligated, you're liable for doing it on its own. The same is true with all the other 38. Alma Rabbi Yosi lav alv malachi. Rabbi Yosi, who is the first opinion, who says havara lalav yatzas, holds that it's not an av malacha. It's a lav. An av malacha is a malacha that you say on Shabbos. It's one of the avos malachas, which a person would get the death penalty for, even if, of course, only if there's witnesses and warnings and so forth. But havara is not one of the avos malachas, it's a lav. The fact that Rabbi Akiva calls havara an av malacha means Rabbi Akiva disagrees with Rabbi Yosi, holds like Reb Nosson, that havara is also an av malacha. The reason the Torah differentiates it from the others is lechalek, to be able to split the malachas and say that each one has its own einish, its own penalty, just like havara has its own one, because the Torah specifies it independently. As we say in the Beis, loy lelamed al atzma yatsa lelamed ala klal kuloi yatsa. Why? Because it went out of the klal. The Torah doesn't say a new halacha with it, right? Lelamed, it's to teach you. What is it to teach you according to this opinion? Ala klal kuloi yatsa. According to Rabbi Nosson, you want to know why he specified loy sevaru. According to Rabbi Yosi, it's clear because he wants to say that there's no. According to this, he could have specified another one. That's true. He could have specified another one. That's true. You want to know why he specified loy sevaru eish? That he doesn't explain. Why did he choose from all of them loy sevaru eish? Yeah, you have to obviously say that there's something. So this is not a question in halacha. This is already a question in more in nister. The Shalah asks this question. Why does he specify this? And he says, because represents the general malacha, because the first malacha of creation, it says Hashem worked for 6 days, and then he rested, right? Right? So the 6 days he created the world. How did he create the world? Through his speech. What's the first thing Hashem did? Vayomer Elokim, what's the first thing? Yihi or. Let there be light. What's the first thing Hashem did? Gemachta fire. First thing, the Shalos says, first thing Hashem did was he said, "Let there be light." So really, so that's the genesis of all Malachas Shabbos, because it reflects the idea of resting from creation. The first creation was kindling a fire, kindling a light, Yihir. So therefore, that's the Malacha that's specified as a klal to teach me about the whole klal, that each Malacha is separate. Now you can ask a question, why was Ur the first malacha? Okay, that's already a whole other sugya. But that's the Inyan, that the Ur was the first one. That's the Shalah explains why, according to Reb Nosson, have Ur l'chalak yatzis, not another one. Stam, another interesting thing you'll see, it's just good to know the same principle, and it's very relative to the Masechta that we're learning. If you'll go back to the psukim that we were dealing with in the previous days, okay, page 183, Parshas Boy, Perik Yud Beis, Pasuk Tesvav, right? So it says, Shivas Yamim, Matzos Techelu. You should eat matzahs for 7 days. What does Rashi say? Ubemakam Acheru Oimer Sheshes Yamim Techel Matzahs. In Parshas Re'eh it says, you should eat matzahs for 6 days. Lamad al Shvi Shal Pesach, She'ena Chayva Lechel Matzah, B'vat Shalei Echel Chametz. So it says only 6 days you should eat matzahs. Why did it say 6 days? Because the 7th day of Pesach, you're not mechuyev to eat matzah. What? Very good, very good. So one place it says 7 days you should eat matzahs. One place it says 6 days you should eat matzahs. So I understand why it says 6 days, because the 7th day you're not mechuyev to eat matzah. You're not allowed to eat chametz, but you don't have to eat matzah. If you don't want to eat not chametz, not matzah, fine. Okay. Minayin af shisha rishus. The first 6 days, you're also not mechuyev to eat matzah. You don't have to eat matzah. But if you want, you can eat matzah. You're just not allowed to eat chametz. So he says, Talmud loymar shivas yamim, and then sheshes yamim. Here it says shivas yamim, you should eat matzah. There it says sheshes. Zu mida b'toyra. Davar shoya b'chlal, v'yatzim min ha'klal l'lamed, loy l'lamed ala klal kul, l'lamed ala atzmei b'lvad yotza, ala l'lamed ala klal kuloi yotza. Mashvi rishus, Af Shisha Rishus. It says Shivas Yamim Teichel Matzahs is the whole 7 days. In Parshas Re'eh, the 7th day was left. The 7th day was excluded. Yotzim and Aklal. You're gone. To teach me what? That I'm not obligated. Loyla Lamed al Atzma Yotza. Lamed al Aklal Kula Yotza. The first 6 days I also don't have to eat matzahs. The Torah means if you want to eat bread, eat matzah. You don't have to eat matzah. You can't eat chametz. So you should eat matzah. bread was the staple of food. Bread, lechem, lavav, energy. So Torah is saying you can't eat matzah, you can't eat chametz, eat matzah. So Rashi, Yochalaf Laila Harishin Rishus. The first night is also voluntary. Talmud learned by Erev Teichel Matzah. Hakosov Kav Chayva. In Pasuk Yitches, like we learned by Rishon Barbas or Lechodesh. Barbas Yom Lechodesh by Erev Teichel Matzah. Special Pasuk, the first night of Pesach, you have to eat matzah. The night of the Seder, there's a biblical obligation to eat matzah. But after that, there's no such obligation. Here again, we see the principle, Haya Bechlal, Yotza Min HaKlal, to teach me something, L'lamed, not only Al Atzmai. He goes back and he teaches the whole klal. In other words, he left the klal like an ambassador. He went on a shlichus to bring back something for the whole klal. He didn't just leave stam, that's it, we're gone. You left the klal, not for yourself. Yeah, you left the klal, you take a left. You have to ultimately bring back and redefine the whole klal. It's a deep lesson in this. Lo lamed al atzma yotza. Gegangen an Decken Amerika, machen Shabbos for sich. Lamed ala klal kula yotza. It's for the ganze klal. You take a left. You have to go do your own thing. But you bring it back to the whole klal. That's only if he left the klal. But what happens? Kol davar shoy b'klal v'yotza lidoin. B'davar chadash. He left the klal and he got a new halacha. Now, iyata yachal lachziri l'chlaloi. Achechzen akasha l'chal b'feidish. Now you can't just bring him back to the klal until the Torah brings him back b'feidish. An example for that would be, the Torah says in Parshas Emer, just one example of many, Torah says in Parshas Emer that everybody in the family of a Kohen, can eat Truma. The Kohen and his wife and his children, everybody, even his Avadim Knanim, even the non-Jews, Kinyan Kasper, they belong to the Kohen and they can eat Truma. The Kohen can give his Behemah Karshine Truma, seeds of Truma that a Behemah eats, everyone in the Kohen. That would include every child. What if he has a daughter, Bas Kohen Kisiya Le'ishzar, a Bas Kohen who marries a Yisrael, right, or a Levi. She marries somebody who's not a Kohen. So what does the Torah do? He betrumas hakadoshim lo yisaychel. She was taken out of the klal, but she was given a new halacha. She gets a new status, a completely new halacha, right? So efsher lachzirei l'klali achazena kasu l'klali b'feidish. Can I take her back to the klal? Let's say, for example, her husband passes away, right? So the Torah specifies clearly when she comes back to the klal. Because over here it was lidoin bedavar chadash, there's a chiddush. Al kol panim, Rav says, what do we learn from Rabbi Akiva? That he holds havara l'chalik yotzas. Because Rabbi Akiva said, havara is an av malacha, not a lav. According to Rabbi Yossi, havara is a lav. Rabbi Akiva says, havara is an av malacha. A third thing we learn from Rabbi Akiva is lo yamrin, we don't say the fact that he holds you not let a kindle a fire to burn chametz on Yom Tov means you don't say that because kindling is permitted on Yom Tov for the need of food, it should also be permitted not for the need of food. What does this mean? This is very important. The Torah says clearly by Pesach that every malacha that's for Eichel Nefesh you could do on Yom Tov. So let's say cooking, great. Baking, yes. Carrying, yeah. I'm eating by you, I want to bring a kugel or I want to bring a bottle of wine. I could carry on Yom Tov. But there's a huge machloikus in Maseches Beis, Daf Yud Beis, between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. How far does this heter go? Am I allowed to carry a key on Yom Tov? Am I allowed to carry a machzer on Yom Tov? Right? Or not? I'm not allowed to. What's the halacha? Beis Hillel holds, mitoich shehutru l'tzoyrech, hutru nami shaloi l'tzoyrech. Once it's mutter for tzorech eichel nefesh, it's mutter even not l'tzoyrech eichel nefesh. I could carry a siddur on Yom Tov, even though it's not eichel nefesh. I'm not carrying kugel. Beis Shammai says no. We don't say hutru l'tzoyrech, hutru nami shaloi l'tzoyrech. It's hutru l'tzoyrech for eichel nefesh, not shaloi eichel nefesh. What's the svara samachloikas? What's the svara? You could learn the pasuk in two ways. When the pasuk says any malacha for eichel nefesh is permissible, you could teach it in two ways. One is that's only a siman. Any type of malacha that you usually do for eichel nefesh is permitted on Yom Tov, even if you don't do it for eichel nefesh. Or you could say, no, it's the oichel nefesh that makes it permissible. You could learn in two ways. You could learn. The Torah says any malacha that's for oichel nefesh is permitted. It means any type of malacha that's usually done for oichel nefesh. For example, kindling a fire. Kindling a fire is something we have to do in order to cook food. That type of malacha is Shabbos, is mutter on Yom Tov. Carrying is something you usually do for oichel nefesh, at least a lot of oichel nefesh, because you want to bring it from one place to one place. That becomes mutter. Or the pshat is that no, the Torah is specifying if it's for oichel nefesh, it's mutter. Beis Hillel holds it's a siman what type of malacha is mutter on Yom Tov. Beis Shammai says no, it's limited to oichel nefesh. What do you see from Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva tainas that you're not allowed to kindle a fire on Yom Tov. Why? Because it's not for oichel nefesh. But if you say mitoich shehutra l'tzoyrech, hutra nami shaloi l'tzoyrech, you would be able to kindle it. As the Charaya Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold mitoich shehutra l'tzoyrech, hutra nami shaloi l'tzoyrech. And I should add, in that itself, Teves holds over there in Maseches Beis that Beis Hillel holds that the only way it's hutra shaloi l'tzoyrech is if it's tzoyrech hayom ktsas. There has to be some need for the day. Stam to carry without a need is not mutter, even min ha-Torah, at least according to some shittas, right? So that's why Tosfos says here, take a look at the second Tosfos, Dafayim et Beis lo amrinen mitoich, the amrinen mitoich shari. If you would say mitoich, you could kindle a fire. Afagav de binin tzarech hayom ktsas. Even though Tosfos' shittas that even Beis Hillel holds that you always need to do a type of malacha that is necessary on that day, at least a little bit, not stam, carrying or cooking or without a need. This is also tzarech hayom because it's Pesach and there's a mitzvah of tashbisu, so it's tzarech hayom to kindle a fire. So Mela, we see from Rabbi Akiva that you're not allowed to kindle a fire. Why not? You should say just like I could cook hot water, right? Hot water on Yom Tov, even if I'm not using the water to drink or to eat. I want, for example, my child to get a little hot water. I can do it even though it's not for oichel nefesh. Or I could carry my keys on Yom Tov if I'm leaving the house and it's not oichel nefesh. Why? Why can I kindle a fire to burn chametz? It's tzarech hayom ktsas. The answer is Rabbi Akiva holds that you don't say hayol v'hutra avada l'tzarech hutra nami shaloi l'tzarech. So B'meila, Rabbi says from Rabbi Akiva, we learn three things. Number one, he holds ein bir chametz ala sreifa. Number two, he holds havara, left the klal, lechalek, to teach me that every malacha is independent and gets its own carbon and kares. And number three, Rabbi Akiva, also we see from Rabbi Akiva that he does not believe mitoich shehutra l'tzayrech, hutra nami shaloi l'tzayrech. This completes the sugya of how you know Erev Pesach is forbidden after Shei Shoyes. Rabbi just clarified the shita of Rabbi Akiva. Now, we get to the next stage in dissecting all of the psukim that deal with chametz and figuring out what's permitted on Pesach, what's not permitted on Pesach. And here we come to the very interesting question, are you allowed to have in your house chametz that does not belong to you? So everybody knows people sell parts of their house to a Gentile, including freezers and refrigerators and pantries and cabinets and refrigerators in the basement and cabinets in the basement, and they're filled with chametz, and they're right in your property a whole Pesach, even though the Torah clearly says you're not allowed to have chametz in your house on Pesach. How exactly does that work? And what happened to b'dikas chametz? Even if you want to say that you can have chametz min ha-Torah because you did bittul, but we learned in the first Mishnah that you have to get rid of the chametz, at least midrabanan, b'dikas chametz is midrabanan. And nobody gets rid of all this chametz that they leave in their homes, in refrigerators or pantries or cabinets, even if they put tape on it and it belongs to the Gentile because they sold it. Where exactly did this mechanism happen? What is the structure of the halacha of understanding what and what not? Am I always allowed to have somebody's chametz in my house if it doesn't belong to me? If it's a non-Jew, if it is a Jew, if it's what makes it mine, what doesn't make it mine, etc. That's the next sugya. And as usual, we go back to the psukim because we always have to see in the text what it says in the text in order to figure out what the halacha is. Zok the Gemarah. Tana Rabbanan. And now comes the next sugya about all the gedarim, the parameters of what type of chametz are you allowed to or not allowed to have in your domain, A. And number two, what does it mean, your domain? What is your domain? Your garage, your home, your attic, your porch, a house somewhere else. What if you have a house in Australia, a house in Florida, a house in Switzerland, etc. Tana Rabbana. The rabbis taught the rabbis taught in a Brisa. I'm going to ask you once again to open up the Chumash, and we're going to have to look at 2 psukim. Actually, we have to look at more than 2 psukim, but we're going to look first, open back up to that same page 183. It's our favorite page for the moment. Parshas Boy, Shmois, Perek Yud Beis, Pasuk Yutes. This is the first time Moshe Rabbeinu comes out against Chametz. First time. He's still in Mitzrayim. They're still in Mitzrayim. You have to remember the context. They're in Egypt. He's telling them about the first night of Pesach. In Pasuk Tesvav, he told them they should eat matzah for 7 days. It's the first time we hear that we have to eliminate chametz, and he tells you if you eat chametz on Pesach, there's chorus from the first day till the 7th day. He tells you to watch the matzahs, and now comes the first lav, the first prohibition, and these psukim become critical. So please retain them in your mind. Pasuk Yites, Shivas Yamim Sa'or Lo Yimatzeh Bebateichem. For 7 days, yeast, sourdough should not be found in your home. How would I interpret this pasuk? Quite literally, right? For 7 days, yeast, sourdough, sa'or should not be found in your home. That would mean anywhere in your home, we should not be able to find yeast. Lo yimatzeh should not be found. Ki kol oichel machmetzes v'nichrasa, because whoever eats chametz is going to get karis, and then he repeats again on chaf, kol machmetzes lo yisechelu b'chol ma'ishveseichem toichlu matzos. Okay. L'chayre, this would be clear. Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to the Jewish people in Egypt, and then he speaks to them a little longer, and then Makas P'chayres happens, and now take a look, page 186, the last pasuk nun aleph, Yud Beis nun aleph, Vayechi be'etzem hayom hazeh hotzi Hashem es bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim al tzivosa. In the middle of the day, Tesvav Nisan, Hashem took out the Jewish people from Mitzrayim. Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe leimer. When was this Vayedaber? What did it seem like? When? Right after the Jewish people left Egypt. Probably that day. That's what it seems like. That day, or very close to that day, Hashem speaks to Moshe, and he gives him this parsha that many people say every day in Tefillin. Some people say before davening, some people say it after davening, Rabbi Thomas Tefillin, whatever your minhag is. But this is a well-known parsha called Kadesh. Kadesh li kol b'chor peta kol rechem b'vnei Yisrael ban b'mei lihu. Now look at Pasuk Vav. Perek Yud Gimel Boy Pasuk Vav. Shivas Yamim Teichel Matzah Vayem Ashvi Chag Lashem. Matzah Yeachel Shivas Hayamim. Eat matzah for 7 days. Looks like Vav and Zayin is mamash a repeat. That's what I told you about the text. The text is written in such an awkward way because everything has layers and layers and layers of Moshe Rabbeinu's lectures over 40 years. Okay. But here's the key. Matzah Yeachel Shivas Hayamim. V'lo yeira lecha chametz. Translate, chametz should not be seen to you, and yeast should not be seen to you. Where? In your entire gvul. What does gvul mean? Border. Gvul means boundaries, in all of your boundaries. Interesting. What did he say earlier? Shivas yamim sa'or la yimatzeh bibateichem. Shouldn't be found in your homes. Suddenly after Yetzias Mitzrayim, God speaks to Moshe. Terminology changed. Instead of found, shouldn't be seen. Lo yirah. And not only not be seen, should be seen to you. What, it could be seen to me? How does that work? I have special glasses. Shouldn't be seen to you, should be seen to me. Lo yirah. Lo yirah lecha. Shouldn't be seen to you. And he says, Lo yirah lecha chametz, and then again, Lo yirah lecha sa'ar. Where? B'chol gvulecha. In all of your boundaries. You see how many changes? Now people read these things. Okay, next, let's move on. The main thing is no chametz. Let's get kosher Pesach pizza. But for the Chazal, this was critical. The first time he said lo yimatzeh bibateichem. It shouldn't be found in your homes. The second time around, it shouldn't be seen to you in your border. He forgot about found. He speaks about seeing. He speaks about you, and he forgot about homes. He speaks about borders. And then he goes to the next mitzvah, v'yigadet halevincha by Yom Hahu, and that's it. Now we won't hear about this for a long time, but 40 years later, Moshe Rabbeinu decides to come back and revisit the subject just a few weeks before he passed away. So we want to see one more thing. Now, I'm not trying here to burden you with psukim. If you have this, the biggest mistake people make is they learn Gemarah, they don't learn the psukim first. Megate, mahakt, one pasuk, another pasuk here, it says here, and people don't appreciate it because they don't really have a rosh to psukim. They don't see how Chazal looked at it. They're just, okay, another pasuk. Why don't you shove me in another pasuk? bring me from Shoftim, Shmuel, Malachim, Yirmiyah, Yeshaya, just confuse me a little more. But if you have a background of the Psukim, everything becomes so much more accessible and understandable. Huh? Crystal clear, yes. Okay. So take a look in Parshas Re'eh. 40 years later, remember this is Sefer Dvarim, Moshe Rabbeinu revisits everything, okay? Page 538. 538, Sefer Dvarim, Parshas Re'eh, Perek Tes Zayin, chapter 16 of Sefer Dvarim. Pasuk Aleph, page 538 in the Blue Chumash. Shomer es chodesh Aviv vasisa Pesach Lashem Elekecha. Okay, Pasuk Beis v'zavachta Pesach. Pasuk Gimel. Lo yisoichel alav chametz, shivas yamim toichel alav matzos, lechem oyne kibechi pazim. Pasuk Dalet. V'lo yera lecha sa'ir b'chol gvulcha. Shivas yamim. Now when he repeats it 40 years later, he says, to you should not be sea and yeast in your entire border, boundary, Shivas Yamim for 7 days. This is once again, he revisits it. And by the way, just for reference, it's here in Pasuk Ches where it says, Sheishes Yamim Teichel Matzos. You remember we learned about the contrast between Shivas Yamim and Sheishes Yamim. This is the Pasuk of Sheishes Yamim. Took it out of the klal, yeah. It's in this pasuk Parshas Re'eh. Shivas Yamim was in Parshas Boy before they left Egypt, and this is in Parshas Re'eh a few weeks before Moshe passes away, when he went through many of the mitzvahs again. That's why it's called Mishnah Torah, a repetition of the Torah. So now that we have these psukim, what did we have? We had in Parshas Boy, we had Perikid Beis Yotes Shivas Yamim Sarlei Matzav B'Teich. A few psukim later, when they leave Egypt, God speaks to Moshe Rabbeinu and he says, Lo Yera Lecha Chametz. Twice, 40 years later in Parshas Re'eh, almost verbatim of the second time, Shivas Yomim 7 times. 7 days, I'm sorry, 7 days, right. 7 days. So now let's see, from all these psukim, the Gemara now has to dissect the psukim and develop what is the halacha, what is Moshe Rabbeinu, what is the Torah teaching us about Pesach. So there's a long brisa, and as often the brisa is a little cryptic, and the Gemara is going to analyze and dissect the brisa. But let's see what the brisa says. Tana Rabban. The first pasuk reads, Shivas Yamim Sa'ar Lo Yamatzu B'Bateicha. Frag the brisa, Ma Talmud Loimar. What's the point of this pasuk? Haloi Kvar Neman, it already says, Lo Yira Lecha Chametz V'Lo Yira Lecha Sa'ar B'Chol Gvulecha. Now this is a strange question, because Shivas Yamim Sa'ar Lo Yamatzu B'Bateicha says first. What do you want from him? He came first. Go to the second guy, not to him, was supposed to finem. I was here first. Why are you throwing me out? Right? The answer to this is, and we have to understand this clearly, because the second pasuk is much better than the first pasuk. Because the second pasuk expands it to b'chol gvulcha. The first pasuk says you're not allowed to have chametz in your house. The second pasuk says you're not allowed to see chametz in all of your borders, meaning, what about my garage? What about my attic? What about if I have a house nearby my house, right? I have a guest house, or I have something else. I have a storage place, a silo. But Chol Gvulcha means in all of your borders, whatever belongs to you. So in Mela, the second pasuk is more expansive than the first pasuk. The first pasuk only prohibits it in your home. The second one prohibits it b'chol gvulecha. So the question is, once you have the second pasuk, I understand why I need a second pasuk to give me that expansion of the prohibition. The application is broader. But then, why did you give me the first pasuk? That's why he says, Ma Talmud Lema le Kvar Nema. Kvar Nema doesn't mean it already says before. Kvar Nema means, since it says, Lo Yera Lecha Cham Lo Yera Lecha B'Chol Gvulecha, and Beischa is included in Gvulcha. Gvulcha is not included in Beischa, but Beischa is included in Gvulcha. Let's say I have a pit outside of my house, some cistern in the ground. It's not Beisi, I don't live there, right? But it's Gvuli, it's part of my boundaries. I have to pay taxes. I have to pay taxes for it. It's still part of my domain. I could sell it. I can make money for it. I own a garage somewhere. It's not my house, but it's gvuli. So once you have the second pasuk, the first pasuk becomes superfluous. And for the Tana answers the Brisa, because in the second pasuk it also says lecha. The first one it doesn't say lecha. That's another difference. The first one it said 7 days, so shouldn't be found in your home. The second pasuk it says 7 days, doesn't even say 7 days, it says yeast should not be, or chametz should not be seen to you to you. What does it mean, lo yera l'cha sa'ar? It should have said, lo yera sa'ar, just like lo yimatzeh. 7 days you shouldn't have chametz in your house. 7 days you shouldn't see chametz in your, what does it mean? It shouldn't be seen to you. To me, it should be seen. If it's not seen, if it's not there, it's not seen. If it's there, it's seen by everybody. So what's this lo yera l'cha? It sounds like it's limiting the isser. I don't care if it's seen, it just shouldn't be seen to you. So he teaches, what does it mean it shouldn't be seen to you? It doesn't mean it shouldn't be seen to you, but everybody else sees it, because if everybody sees it, you see it, and if you see it, everybody sees it. What it means is, lo yera lecha shel chaya teraya. It's an isser only on your chametz. Lo yera lecha, the chametz that is yours should not be seen. Shel chaya teraya. The chametz that is yours, you're not allowed to see in your borders. Aval ateraya shel acherim. But you're allowed to see chametz of others, v'shel gavoya, and chametz that belongs to God. Let's say you take chametz and you sanctify it for the Beis Hamikdash, for Bedek Habayis, yeah? You have a nice cheesecake, and you want it to go to the Koyanim. You want it to go to the Beis Hamikdash, not the Koyanim. So you dedicate the Beis Hamikdash. It's fine. You could see that chametz. Shel acherim v'shel gavoya. It's chametz in your house. That's why it says, Lo yera l'cha sa'ar b'chol gvalecha. It shouldn't be seen by you. What do we mean it shouldn't be seen by you? What chametz should not be seen? Chametz that is yours. It's seen by you as your chametz. That's the chametz that's prohibited. That's why it says l'cha. So yochel, I would now think, yatmin, take your chametz and hide it, and you won't see it. Have a great patent. Just put all your chametz in cabinets, put them in drawers, and you're good to go. It says lo yera, don't see. I would also think v'yikabel pikdonis min anachri. I would also think that you could take deposits of chametz from a goy, because the Torah says you're not allowed to have your chametz. But if it's a non-Jew, he comes to me and he says, "Here, I'm going to Florida for a month. Do me a favor. I have all this mashka, I have all this liquor. Here's a pikadon. I want to keep it in your home and store it in your home. And as we'll see later, it means I'm taking responsibility for it as a store, as a shomer. Okay, but that's not yet. We're going to see what that means. But I would be able to do that. Why? And even leave it in the open, because it says lo yera l'cha. But somebody else's chametz I could leave out. First of all, my chametz I can hide. If I would only have the second pasuk, I would say my chametz I can hide. Just close the closet, and you can have all the chametz because I'm not seeing it. Lo yera. Number two, I could take as many pikdonis from a non-Jew chametz and leave it out in the open because it's not mine. Talmud loyma. That's why you have the first pasuk. Lo yimatzeh. What does lo yimatzeh mean? Lo yimatzeh means it shouldn't be found in your home. Found, even if it's in a drawer, even if it's hidden, even if it's under 20 blankets, even if it's in a locker, even if it's in a safe. It's not yera. I don't see it, but it's yimatzeh. It's found. And yimatzeh teaches me, therefore, that I can't be matman chametz. It also teaches me that there's no lecha here. By the lo yimatzeh, it doesn't say lecha. So this teaches me that even in not lecha, there's also a limit, as we will explain. In other words, even in chametz that I'm getting from a non-Jew as a deposit, as a pikadon, as something that he wants to keep in my house, and I'm taking responsibility, so it's not mamish mine, but because in the lo yimatzeh it doesn't say lecha, that means chametz could not be found in your house, even if it's chametz that is not mamish yours. Now we have to reconcile when yeah, when not. When we say lecha, when not we say lecha, we'll see. But this is what the Beis introduced us. So there's two psukim. Ainli, the Beis continues, and it's cryptic. It's going to ainli, I would think. This is only by a non-Jew whom you did not conquer, meaning he's not under you, and he doesn't live with you. But a guy it's called a ger toshav, a non-Jew who in ancient times accepted to observe the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach and live under the Jewish jurisdiction. That's called Nachri Shekivashta. He's living under the Jewish people according to the moral code of the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. Or he's living with you, mamash, in your courtyard. Minayin, how would I know it's forbidden? I would say maybe it's not forbidden to have his chametz. Talmud loymar lo yimatzeh. So it says lo yimatzeh b'vateichem, that all the chametz of his is forbidden when you have it as a pikadon. Ein li ela b'vateichem. I would say, okay, in the house I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to have chametz in the house. B'boidis, in pits, b'shichin, in cisterns, b'mayris, in caves. Minayin, how do I know? I'm not allowed to. Talmud loymar, b'chol gvulecha. That's why it says, b'chol gvulecha, in your entire border. V'adayin ani yomer, I will still say, Batim oiver mishum bal yiro, bal yimotzei, u bal yatmin, u bal yekava b'gdoinis min anochri. In your house, you're oiver mishum bal yiro, because it's part of gvulecha, and bal yimotzei, you're not allowed to have it, and you're not allowed to hide it, u bal yekava b'gdoinis min anochri, and you're not allowed to take up pikadim from a goy. But bigvulin outside of your home, in my garage or my pit, only I would say, shal chaya to devel atadar shal achayim v'shal gavoya. I basically can hide my chametz, and it's only my own chametz that I can't see, but I could see others' chametz, including hektish, including a guy. How do I know that the leniency of lo yera applies also in the house? And the stringency in the house applies also to outside the house, to your border, your boundary. Talmud loymar sa'ir l'gzeirah shava. Here the Torah uses another method, uses the same word sa'ir in both cases. Nemar sa'ir bebatim, sa'ir lo yematzir bebatechem. Nemar sa'ir begvulin lo yira lecha sa'ir. Ma sa'ir amar bebatim. Just like in the house. Oiver mishum ba yira ba yematzir. You're not allowed to see it, you're not allowed to have it. Bal yatmi, you're not allowed to hide it. Bal yikav b'gdonis min anochrim, you're not allowed to accept a pikadon from a non-Jew of chametz. Av sa'ir amar bigvulin, also outside of your house, in your domain. Oiver mishum ba yira ba yematzir, bal yatmi, you can't hide. Bal yikav b'gdonis min anochrim. On the other hand, just like outside of your house, you could see other people's chametz. In the house also, you have the same leniency. Only your chametz you're not allowed to have in the house and see in the house, but other people's chametz and hektish's chametz you're allowed to have in the house. This is the quote of the Beis. This is the beginning and the end of the Beis, and we'll stop here and analyze this Beis Be'ezer Hashem tomorrow.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.